just being in positions to blast me like through my ranks, and of course I'm in that situation anyway. But the thing is with pursuing, I knew that his units were about sort of 15, 16 inches away, and I'd have to make that on 3 dice for pursuing to be able to make contact with him, which was way, way, way against the odds. I'd have to get a multitude of 5s and 6s on 2 dice, so 3 dice. So what I should have done is just held and not pursued, and then attacked later in further turns, because now I'm in a situation where I'm going to get charged by multiple units here. The big units of Clan Rats, the Screaming Bell, the Night Runners, and I'm just going to get devastated. So a really, really dumb thing to do, and I'm just absolutely hitting myself for doing this. Obviously, the game would take a very different turn had I not done this, but, nobody's perfect. Mistakes happen, and I won't be making this one again next time I play the Skaven. Next picture, the Scorpion has made it into combat with this third unit of slaves over here, though, so hopefully the Scorpion will be able to lock those slaves in place for me to catch up with the rest of my army and do the damage. So next picture, obviously my opponent sees my error and attacks with the Night Runners and the Clan Rats straight into the Prince's unit and starts really bashing it for 6. In the next photo you can see the Screaming Bell doing pretty much the same thing, just charging in, getting the Screaming Bell impact hits and just crushing the chariots completely. Not really having a lot of fun there, but feeling very bad and demoralized about this, but at least I've got infantry units rolling up the center, getting ready to try and win the day for me as a plan B. So next picture, you can sort of just zoom out. This is Skaven turn 3. The Night Runners on the far side are moving in a little bit closer. I've exposed my flank there with the Tomb Guards, but I'm not too worried about the Night Runners. Really just trying to get into the middle of the battlefield as soon as I can before my opponent sort of runs away from me and just claims a victory point win rather than engaging me, because the infantry is really all I have left to win the game with. Just another picture back here, you can see the Hierophant just moving a little bit further forward, spreading out the archers a bit. And of course the Carrion has been destroyed from that clan retinue without killing the engineer, mind you. And this is the aftermath of the combat. So the Screaming Bell unit totally trashed the unit of chariots there, absolutely wiped them out. And on the far side, the prince actually held his own, just in virtue of being a prince and being awesome, and took out the engineer in combat with him. So not all bad news. At least I've gotten rid of one of his casters and one of his dispel dice, thanks to the prince being there and trashing them like that. But the prince is bound to die in the next combat phase because he's so low in health. So next picture, we've got a whole bunch of guys in combat now. This is Tomb King's turn 3, I believe, just as a response to everything that's going on. We've got the Tomb Guard charging into the... what happened here was that the slaves died, the skeletons overran, and now he's charging me with his Clan Rats and charging me with his Jezzails, because the Jezzails had Death Frenzy cast on them. And the Frenzy actually lasts until they're beaten in combat, and the thing is he cast Death Frenzy on them to protect them against the Carrion. But that was his mistake, because now that they were in range of the Tomb Guard, the Jezzails had to charge the Tomb Guard, no choice about it, and obviously you can predict what happens there, especially because I've got a king with the Destroyer of Eternities sitting right there. Next picture, a bit more of an overview. You can see in the far background the chariots have all been wiped out. The Scorpion's free at the moment, having lost a wound to the slaves, no less shamefully. And I've got a unit of skeleton melee warriors ready to take the charge here and try and defend against the Clan Rats. Next picture, you can see the Clan Rats absolutely destroyed. The Clan Rats aren't in the picture anymore, and the Jezzails are gone. Overran with the Scorpion and took everybody out. I didn't overrun with the Tomb Guard. I just wanted to get them into a better position to move through and ultimately attack the Screaming Bells unit. The Jezzails have fled, and the Skaven slaves have fled all the way to the back, but have rallied. So I've still got the slaves to contend with, but I've got a Scorpion there, of course, to deal with that as well. We'll see how it shapes up. Gonna go to the next picture. You can see on the far left-hand side flank, I've totally lost that flank, and he's now moving forward towards me with Clan Rats. Warp Lightning Cannon is still blasting off, but still misfiring pretty much half the times they fire. Something is honestly wrong with my artillery dice this game, because it's just pretty much rolled misfires for us both half the game. Just misfires on swarms tunneling, misfires on the catapult, misfires on the lightning cannons, misfires on everything. Next picture, a bit of a better look over here. The Clan Rats are moving in close to the archers. I'm going to have to reform these guys to take that charge. I shouldn't really have much to worry about in there. It's going to take them too long to kill the archers, especially with the Lich on the casket in behind to cast summoning on them. But in the meantime, in the background there, the slaves have charged the Scorpion. My opponent's made that decision for some reason. I assume that's to tie up the Scorpion to prevent me from trying to assassinate the Grey Seer or whatever, but that's what's happened. Next picture, it's my turn, 4 or 5 I think it is, and the Tomb Guard are now moving towards the Screaming Bell. So are the dudes, the melee skeletons that I finished painting with red shields. Hope you like the look of them. Screaming Bell has reformed to just make sure I'm not charging him in the flank there, but really homing in on him and hoping to take him out in the last turn. Next photo, just a little bit of a better overview. By the way, this photo does show you that I've moved my Hierophant a little bit closer to get in range of that skeleton melee unit, which I can hopefully use a bit of urgency and summoning on to get that into the flank of the Screaming Bell, with full health. Next picture, the Night Runners are far on the other side of the battlefield. The Night Runners tried to harry my flank a little bit there by charging the Tomb Guard and so forth, but they kept failing their fear test, so they couldn't really get involved, unfortunately, to my opponent's discredit. Well, it wasn't his fault. His units were too scared, but unfortunately that's what happened there. Casket fully operational. The casket did go off at one point. Only collected a few souls, but not really enough for my liking. Next picture, finally we're in combat, and this is the make or break combat, and unfortunately the picture's not too good, but you can see what's happened here. The king is attacked, and the king is lashed out with his Destroyer of Eternities at strength 7, has hit the Screaming Bell and wounded it without being saved by the ward save, and crushes the Screaming Bell from under the Gracier's feet. Unfortunately, I didn't get any killing blows at all on the Gracier, and fluffed the rest of my attacks. The Clan Rats beat me in combat. He's got a Battle Standard Bearer hanging around the back of the unit with a war banner. Lost the combat by 1, and that was the last turn of the game at this point. So we had to tally up the victory points. And wow, I've got to say, oh sorry, not the last photo of the game. I'm just going to zoom out to this next photo where you can just see what happened here. I tried to use magic to get the Scorpion into the flank and to get the other unit of skeletons, and the skeletons weren't close enough in range because during my opponent's turn 6, he backed up the Clan Rats by 2.5 inches. Very wise move, and kept me out of range of the skeleton melee warriors. Otherwise, I would have broken him. And the Clan Rats on the far side of my lines of attack, the reformed archers, but of course didn't quite kill him, especially as I cast summoning on them with a Lich on the casket. But that's it, guys. Added up the points, and turned out that it was a draw because I only won by about 47 victory points. Then we forgot to tally in the bell, the screaming skull. Sorry, not the screaming skull, the bell, the screaming bell. Getting mixed up with my catapult there, and we weren't quite sure in terms of the rules whether you're meant to get 200 victory points if you kill the bell but don't kill the Grey Seer. I assume that you do. Somebody, I'm sure there are lots of smartasses there that like posting on my page that will mention whether you get the victory points for it or not. Didn't really matter because I'd actually added up the points wrong anyway. My opponent pointed out that he'd got half wins on the Scorpion on the left-hand side of the picture. And really, even if you factored in the Screaming Bell, it would have been a draw because I wouldn't have beaten them by a large enough margin. So it turned out to be a draw. Both of us had a really good time. It was a very fun game. Next time, I won't be making the mistake of wasting the chariots like that. I'll be taking a little bit more punishment. And next time, I'm also going to do a bit more burrowing and tunneling with the Scorpions to try and take out the Warp Lightning Cannons, staying out of range of them, and then charging in with the chariots later and sealing the deal that way because that's a much more solid plan. Didn't really know what to expect against Skaven being my first game, but now that I have played against them, I do understand them a lot better, and I've got some really clever ways of dealing with them, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys those ideas in my next game. So look forward to it. Might be next week, but there's a big tournament coming up. Not this weekend, but the next weekend, and that's going to be an 8-game Easter weekend tournament, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more when the time comes. But look forward to it because it's going to be an extravaganza, and I've been preparing the same list. I've been using the same army list over the last 7 games in preparation for that. So stay tuned. More Warhammer coming later.